In a busy city where life moved fast and everyone seemed to be rushing toward their next destination, there was a small grocery store tucked away on a side street. It wasn't the biggest or the most glamorous, but it was a place many people relied on, a place where the familiar hum of everyday life played out behind the checkout counter. Behind that counter worked a young woman who, for months, seemed to have become a fixture in the store, quiet, diligent, and always polite. But lately, her presence was tinged with a quiet sadness that few customers noticed and even fewer employees acknowledged. One ordinary morning, the CEO of the company decided to do something extraordinary. He wanted to see his world through the eyes of the people who kept his business running. So, with a simple disguise, hoodie, cap, and glasses, he slipped into the store as just another customer. His plan was to observe, listen, and learn. He wanted to understand what life was really like for his employees, especially those who worked tirelessly behind the scenes. What he didn't expect was to find a story that would shake him to his core. He started his day working alongside the staff. It was a typical shift, scanning groceries, answering questions, restocking shelves. The young woman at the cash register was quick and attentive, but her eyes told a different story. They seemed distant, shadowed by worry. Her smile was practiced, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. She was doing her best to keep everything together, but beneath her calm exterior, something was breaking. As hours passed, the undercover boss watched her from a distance. She moved with purpose, but her shoulders carried invisible burdens. During her break, he approached her casually, pretending to be just another employee. He struck up a conversation, trying to appear nonchalant. "Hey, how's your day going?" he asked softly. She hesitated, then shrugged. "It's okay, just a bit tired today." He noticed the flicker of exhaustion in her eyes, but decided to press a little further. "Everything all right? You seem a little stressed." She looked away for a moment, then took a deep breath. Her voice was quiet but steady. "It's just, my mom's been sick for a while. She's in the hospital right now. I've been trying to juggle everything, work, bills, taking care of her. Some days it feels like I'm barely holding on." The words hit him like a wave. He could see the strain etched into her face, the way her hands trembled slightly, the way her voice wavered just a touch. She was carrying a heavy burden, and she was doing her best to hide it. He felt a pang of guilt for not noticing sooner. Here was someone working tirelessly, putting on a brave face while fighting her own silent battle. Her vulnerability was raw, and her honesty was humbling. He realized that behind her quiet exterior was a person fighting desperately to keep her life afloat. For a moment, he just listened. No advice, no judgment, just listening. Her words were simple, but they carried a profound truth that changed him forever. "I just want her to get better," she said softly. "Sometimes I wonder if I'm doing enough, if I'm enough. I feel like I'm running out of hope, and I don't want her to see me like this, worried all the time. I just wish life was easier, even for a little while." Those words lingered in his mind long after he returned to his role as a manager. They echoed in his thoughts during the rest of his shift. Here was someone who worked hard every day, not for recognition or praise, but simply to keep her loved one alive and hopeful. Her resilience was extraordinary, and her words struck a deep chord within him. Over the next few days, he kept observing, listening to other employees' stories, noticing their struggles, their sacrifices. He saw the quiet strength of a single mother working double shifts, the young man saving every penny to support his family, the older employee who had been there for decades, holding on because he believed in the community they built together. But it was the young woman's story that stayed with him the most. When the time came to reveal his true identity, he gathered everyone in the back office. He started with a heartfelt speech about appreciation and gratitude, but his words faltered when he looked directly at her. He saw her face, tired but resilient. He remembered her words and the vulnerability she had shared, the truth of her life. Then he told her everything, how he had been there as an undercover observer, how her honesty had touched him more than he could say. He shared how her courage to open up had changed his perspective forever. He promised to make real changes, not just for her, but for everyone working in the store. But it was what happened next that truly transformed everything. The young woman stepped forward, clutching a small piece of paper she had kept in her pocket. Her hands trembled as she looked at him. Her voice was shaky, but her words were clear. "I just want to say thank you," she began. "Thank you for listening. Thank you for seeing me, not just as an employee, but as a person. Today, I realize I'm not alone. Your words reminded me that even in the darkest moments there's hope. There are people who care. My mum is fighting hard, and I want to keep fighting with her. I want her to know she's not forgotten, and I want to believe that better days are ahead." Her words, simple yet powerful, struck him like lightning. In that moment, he understood something fundamental, that leadership wasn't just about profits or policies. It was about people, their stories, their struggles, their hopes. Her honesty had opened his eyes to a truth he had always known but had never fully embraced. Everyone has a story, and every story matters. From that day forward, the store was transformed. It wasn't just a place to buy groceries, it became a community built on compassion and understanding. In the end, the story wasn't just about an undercover boss discovering someone crying behind the register. It was about the power of honesty, empathy, and human connection. It was about how a single moment of vulnerability could spark a change that rippled through a community, and how sometimes the smallest words from a brave heart can change a life forever. And that's a story that would be remembered long after the store closed its doors for the day.